Welcome back to Sharing Your Experiences. This time I bring you to David, one of those guys who did a very drastic transition from one career where he was already a very experienced person in SEOs to become a software developer, something that for many people is frightening and very scary. But in these times, it's very important to do reskilling and to start doing a new life changes. So David, maybe you can share some words more about who you are and what makes you someone very unique.
Well, thanks for having me, Federico. So I'm a David. I'm a Python developer focusing mostly on web apps, but I also started doing some front-end work mostly with React. And yeah, uh, well, the transition happened like a year and a half, I believe. Yeah, that's how long I've been working professionally as a software developer. And before that, I was basically treating it as a hobby. But after like a year and a half before, I felt like maybe I can make a living out of it. So I took a couple of interviews, got a feedback, uh, applied the lessons I was given, and yeah, sometime later I was hired.
So after you joined to this organization, what was the most challenging part of becoming a software developer?
Well, I believe it was finding your place in the team. There were many buzzwords, many new terms and technologies that we were using that I felt overwhelmed at first. Uh, but thanks to having great team and exceptionally great leaders, they gave me some tuition, they gave me lessons and guidance, and I was able to skill up a lot in the meantime. So right now I'm able to help my friends also with their tasks.
And how have you benefit, especially in these times with the COVID, of being a software developer?
Well, at first I have a job. That's a lot during COVID days. uh, Besides that, this kind of work encourages working remotely because basically most of my tasks are task based. They're not basically you have to sit for 8 hours and do stuff. If the task is done, then great. However, how long it does take, it doesn't matter. Uh, and basically, does it means that I don't have to be in the office because my work can be done wherever I have an internet connection and my laptop. So technically, I could move from Poland to, let's say, Spain, UK, or even Thailand and work remotely. And technically, that should not affect my skills and should not affect how productive I am.
And do you think that anyone can become a software developer and, or let's say, do a transition, especially in these times? What will be your advice?
I think yes, it's possible, and I'm an example. I do not have technical knowledge. I have not attended the technical universities. Yet I spent enormous amount of time to learn these skills, and I still have to learn a lot. So my advice is, if you're considering becoming a software developer, and you can afford to go to university, then do it. It's actually worth it, but you have to be very wise what to learn and what to basically skip. If you cannot afford that, then it doesn't mean you won't be great. It means simply you will have to work harder and harder. Can anyone become a software developer? I'd say no. You have to have some skills uh, required for this job. Mostly, you have to be very keen on learning new stuff. You definitely have to have proficient English in reading because there's gonna be a lot of English documentation, and you have to be pretty good with logic. I mean, if you don't have problems with imagining some complex problems and solving them, you might simply get tired of writing programs. But if you enjoy some logical puzzles, you most likely it will fit like a glove.
And what will be your advice? Like, for example, any technology in particular that you will recommend to the people, or from where they can start?
Find some good tutorial on one of the programming languages. For instance, JavaScript, which is super popular, Python, which is also very popular, and it's pretty simple. Choose one of these languages and simply start coding. At first, you're gonna simply learn, most likely from tutorials, how to use the language. But after that, you have to find some kind of project to actually use these skills. If you're gonna simply learn them like from a book, you basically have no skills in programming. You have to create some kind of project. I don't know, for instance, let's say you want to make your own clone of Facebook. It doesn't have to be as good as Facebook, but at least you have to be able to create, I don't know, posts. You want to have connections between friends, chat, and so on. By doing that, it will take you a couple of months, couple of weeks, depends on the size of the project, but you'll definitely face a lot of issues, and by solving them, you actually learn.
And from your personal experience, what is the most valuable thing that you have got from the software development world, or from the IT world in general, besides that you got a job, which is something pretty important?
I'd say working with people who have a high critical thinking skills, being able to create a website, an application out of nothing, because basically the only thing you require is laptop and your knowledge. So it's not like carpentry where you have to have tools, where you have to have material. You can actually basically sit during a weekend and create a next billion-dollar app. It's all up to you. So that's great. Whenever I feel bored, I like to do some side work for myself to fiddle and learn something new. And yeah, I'd say that's the best thing, that you feel freedom in your work, because you can do something else that you're currently doing.
And any final thought that you have for the audience, David, because probably there are many things that you would like to share, but there is something that you would like people to remind.
I'd say I've heard many people considering boot camps. If that works for you to learn how to program with a bootcamp, then go for it. But trust me, you can find most of the basic knowledge on the internet. So get your feet wet, start doing anything, and then seek for advice, seek for a mentor, and you'll be good to go. But first of things, do something, do a project, anything, even a tic-tac-toe in any language is at least a slight challenge that you're gonna learn something new.
Thank you very much, David. As you can see, there are many things that we can learn, and as always, I encourage you to be an agent of change, developing new things, and do the first steps, because we are the only ones who can build a better place. See you the next time.